Imagine an entire village falls unconscious at the same instant. Men, women, and children collapse where they stand. Hours later, they awaken to find that every woman of childbearing age is mysteriously pregnant. Months pass, and the children who arrive are anything but normal. With glowing eyes, a hive mind, and a chilling lack of empathy, they radiate menace from the moment they are born. This isn't simply a story of invasion. It's a warning about how fear of the unknown, the fragility of human society, and how innocence itself can be twisted into the most dangerous weapon of all. Hello to all the classic people who are returning. I'm glad you're back. I want to welcome any new visitors and let you know that there will be spoilers ahead. Today on Classic Movie Review, we are taking on Village of the Damned, 1960. On IMDb.com, this film has a decent 7.3 rating. On RottenTomatoes.com, the film has a great 93% rating on the tomato meter and 78% audience approval. In a part of the review that is still accessible online, New York Times film critic Howard Thompson said in a December 8, 1960 review, quote, "Village of the Damned, which arrived yesterday at neighborhood theaters, doesn't rank with the horror classics on the screen, not by a mile-long werewolf's whisker, but as a quietly civilized exercise on the fear and the power of the unknown, this movie is one of the trimmest, most organized, and sincerely unnerving little chillers in a long time." Unquote. I remember this movie as being damn scary when I saw it as a youth. However, it's not your average monster ripper. It takes a more subtle view as the attackers slip in when you're not looking, and that's really the scary part. Actors. Michael Gwynn played Alan Bernard, a military man who is also the brother-in-law of Gordon Zellaby and brother of Anthea Zellaby. I first mentioned Gwynn in The Revenge of Frankenstein 1958, where he played the reanimated Carl in A New Body. But I knew him from somewhere else. He looked similar to the British actor who said, "Madness, madness," or something similar in the end of a few movies. But that was James Donald from The Bridge on the River Kwai 1957. It turns out he was the Greek god Hermes in the absolutely fantastic Jason and the Argonauts 1963. Peter Vaughan has a small role as P.C. Gabi. I recognized him from the very short role as a drunken miner in The Razor's Edge 1984, and there's a link below. George Sanders played Gordon Zellaby, a professor, the stepfather to an alien, the liaison with the military, and the village leader. Sanders was born in 1906 to English parents in St. Petersburg in the Russian Empire. He is the brother of actor Tom Conway, with whom he shared roles in the Falcon movie series. The family left Russia when the revolution began. As an adult in England, Sanders worked in a few industries before landing in advertising. His precise diction and understanding manner would have been an asset in that career. Sanders was in the cabaret, radio, and finally the theater. In 1936, maybe 1934, he made his film debut. Sanders appeared in Lloyd's of London 1936, Allegheny Uprising 1939, Confessions of a Nazi Spy 1939, and The Saint Strikes Back 1939, the first of many roles as Simon Templar. He boomed in the 1940s with Rebecca 1940, Foreign Correspondent 1940, The Gay Falcon 1941, the first Falcon role before he turned it over to his brother Tom Conway, Black Swan 1942, Hangover Square 1945, The Picture of Dorian Gray 1945, The Ghost and Mrs. Muir as the Perfect Cad, Lured 1947, there's a link below, the Otto Preminger directed Forever Amber with the beautiful Linda Darnell, and Samson and Delilah 1949. Later decades saw him in All About Eve 1950, Ivanhoe 1952, As a Stinker, The Scarlet Coat 1955, The Seventh Sin 1957, The Campy from the Earth to the Moon 1958, A Touch of Larceny 1960, and today's film Village of the Damned 1960. Sanders was a bad redcoat in television's Daniel Boone in 1964. He was on Batman in 1966 for 3 episodes as Mr. Freeze And one of my favorite roles of his was as the voice of Shere Khan the tiger in Disney's The Jungle Book, 1967. Look at the movie. The tiger is drawn to look like Sanders. Oddly, in his personal life, his first and third wife were sisters, Magda Gabor and Zsa Zsa Gabor. In 1937, Sanders confided in actor David Niven that he planned to take his own life when he was older. In 1972, just short of his 66th birthday, Sanders died by suicide in Barcelona, Spain. Barbara Shelley played Anthea Zellaby, Alan's sister, David's mother, and much too young and gorgeous to be Gordon's wife. Shelley was born in England in 1932. The beauty began modeling at the age of 19. This led to acting roles in Italy beginning in the mid-1950s. In a search for better roles, she returned to England. Shelley appeared in The Little Hut, 1957, a light-hearted sex farce. She was noticed among the stellar cast from the film. Cast in a horror role as the title, Catgirl 1957, she found her lane. She began working for Hammer Studios and was later known as the first leading lady of British horror and the Queen of Hammer. Other films include The Camp on Blood Island 1958, Blood of the Vampire 1958, today's film Village of the Damned 1960, The Shadow of the Cat 1961, The Gorgon 1964, The Secret of Blood Island 1965, Dracula, Prince of Darkness 1966, and Quartermass in the Pit 1967. With film work waning, Shelley returned to television for the remainder of her acting career. In retirement, Shelley worked at movie conventions. She suffered a stroke in 2007 and attended her last con in 2019. She passed away in 2021 in England. Martin Stevens was cast as David Zellaby, the son of Barbara and Gordon's step alien. As a son of the film's star, he was a spokesman for the other children. Stevens was born in England in 1949. Along with his sisters Judy and Sally, he was a child actor in the 50s and 60s. His best-known films include A Touch of Larceny 1960, today's film Village of the Damned 1960, both of which starred George Sanders, The Innocence 1961, and The Battle of the Villa Florita 1965. As an adult, Stevens left the acting profession. He studied architecture in Ireland and worked professionally in England. He is still alive. Lawrence Naismith played Dr. Wyler, an advisor to Gordon. Naismith is a British character actor you see in a lot of films. He was born in 1908 in England. As an adult, he worked in the Merchant Marines until he began working on the London stage in 1927. About 3 years later, he joined the Bristol Repertory, where he remained until World War II began. Naismith served for 9 years in the Royal Artillery before returning to the stage. He had his first film role in 1948. I won't say he had a better film career than the other actors discussed in this review, but he has many small parts in movies that piqued my interest. The films include Vampire Over London 1952, a vampire comedy with Bela Lugosi, The Dam Busters 1955, a good war film, Lust for Life 1956 with Kirk Douglas as Van Gogh, The Man Who Never Was 1956, another good war movie, The World of Susie Wong 1960, my second or third favorite William Holden film, today's movie Village of the Damned 1960, Sink the Bismarck 1960, another sharp war movie, Greyfriars Bobby, The True Story of a Dog 1961, an interesting tale, see what I did, that you should look up and watch, but if you don't, I talked about it in The Body Snatchers 1945, and there's a link for that. He was also in Jason and the Argonauts 1963 as the not-so-young guy. Cleopatra 1963, The Valley of Gowanna 1969 with dinosaurs, Bond film Diamonds Are Forever 1971, and the pretty good, as I remember, Young Winston 1972. After retiring, Naismith moved to Australia where he ran a pub. Naismith died in Australia in 1992 after a long convalescence. Story: the perfect English village is shown. Midwich is idyllic and picture perfect. Elder gentleman Gordon Zellaby, George Sanders, is on the phone with his brother-in-law, Alan Bernard, Michael Gwynn. Alan is planning to visit the village and will be on leave from the military. Suddenly, Gordon collapses to the floor. Throughout the village, people drop as they pass out. A few cars crash, and the bell tower stops at 10 minutes to 11. Why did they come at an odd time? This threw me off a bit. Alan becomes concerned when he can't reestablish the call. He asks his commander for, and is given, permission to leave early. Alan mentions that one of the brigades is training in the area, and he will reach out for help if he needs it. Alan is driving to the village when he passes a local policeman, Cobby, Peter Vaughn, who is biking in the same direction. Cobby is investigating a late bus. When the pair continues, they soon find the bus has crashed by the side of the road. Cobby, seeing all of the bodies slumped over, goes forward to investigate. As soon as he gets close to the bus, he passes out as well. Realizing there is a major problem, Alan goes to another town and calls the commander for help. Soon the area is surrounded by military, police, and stranded travelers. The army men are probing the boundaries with caged canaries hanging from large poles. When the birds pass out, the boundary is marked. Holy canary in a coal mine. As soon as the birds are pulled back over the line, they recover. There's a beware of the children sign in the background. Still trying to reach the bus crash site, a military volunteer dons a gas mask. The others tie a rope around his waist. As soon as the volunteer walks past the boundary, he passes out. The other soldiers use the rope around his waist to pull him back. These guys are smarter than the guys I served with. Oh man, how are we gonna get Bobby back? After watching the volunteer pass out and be pulled back, local doctor, Dr. Weilers, Lawrence Naismith, examines the soldier. Dr. Weilers finds that nothing is wrong with the man aside from the patient's report of extreme cold. The army sends a plane over the town. The pilot reports that there is no movement in the village. They ask him to fly a little lower. When he approaches the ground, the pilot passes out and crashes into the field. The military men are formulating a plan when people in and around the bus start to get up. People throughout the village of Midwich are shown waking and standing. They're all dazed. Anthea Zellaby, Barbara Shelley, wakes from what began as a nap before the attack. She finds her confused husband Gordon in the den. She asks why he let her sleep until almost 3 p.m. Gordon thinks he fell asleep on the floor, and they both report being very cold. Alan arrives at the house and is happy to find his sister Anthea and his brother-in-law Gordon safe and awake. He explains what little they know about the force field or barricade. Military personnel in protective gear examine the village and its inhabitants. They find nothing wrong, and life quickly returns to normal in the small village. Shortly afterwards, Gordon is invited to London to meet with the officials about the incident. Still having no idea what occurred, they have little idea what to look for in terms of long-term effects. Alan asks Gordon to monitor the village for anything unusual. They've kept the incident pretty quiet in the press. When Gordon returns from London, Anthea announces that she's pregnant. Great. Playing catch in the backyard with a toddler when you're 70. Gordon is substantially older than Anthea. Dr. Weiler begins getting visits from some pregnant women. Some of the younger ones claim to be virgins. But that's a hard story to sell. I saw a Civil War mini-ball in a museum in Mississippi that produced an immaculate conception. The woman's story is that the bullet must have traveled through a man's testicle before hitting her in the uterus. At another house in the village, a woman is pregnant despite her husband having been at sea for over a year. Concerned by all the pregnancies, Gordon and Dr. Weilers visit the town vicar. Under pressure and against his vows, the vicar says he knows of 3 other pregnant women, one being only 15 years old. Dr. Weiler soon realizes that all of the women in the village capable of bearing children are pregnant, and the conception dates to the day of the mysterious event. Fetal development progresses rapidly, reaching 7 months by the 5th month. Anthea has a freak out about possibly carrying an alien child that is not her husband's. Gordon takes it all in stride. A little bit of a Frankenstein vibe going on here, wondering if your child will be a monster. The women all go into labor around the same time. Anthea's baby is a normal baby with weird glowing eyes and strange fingernails. They name him David, and he is one of the 12 children born in the village. 4 months later, Dr. Weilers examines a hair sample from David and finds it to be normal. However, the child is at an 18-month developmental level. One day, a commotion is heard in David's nursery. Anthea places her hand in a pot of boiling water. It seems she was punished for giving the child a bottle whose milk was too hot. After a year, toddler David can spell his own name with blocks and other things that a child that age should not be able to do. Gordon gives the toddler a Chinese puzzle box that, if opened correctly, reveals a chocolate. David easily opens the box. Gordon takes the box to the neighbor's house, and one of the alien children opens it very quickly. When a third child is being tested, an older step-sibling steals the box. The child's eyes glow, and the older sibling mechanically returns the box. As the years pass, the children's group becomes inseparable. They dress alike and stand close together to communicate mentally and read others' minds. It's very goth-like. David, Martin Stevens, is clearly the group's leader. Around the 3-year mark after the incident, Gordon is invited to London for a special conference concerning the children. Gordon believes the children need to be taught morals.
We are gathered here as advisors, as scientists, as government experts.
Alan is getting increasingly concerned about Gordon's laissez-faire attitude. The group tells Gordon that other groups of children were born at the same time. In Australia, the children died within 10 hours of birth. That's a wild and dingo-infested place. In Mongolia and Greenland, the tribal communities killed the children shortly after their birth. There are rules for a reason. The group in the Soviet Union is being educated, giving the only hint of Cold War tension in this film. Scientists at the meeting speculate on the reason for the occurrence. One thinks a beam from outer space may have hit them, while another thinks this may be some form of human evolution, like the next X-Men mutants.
Have we established anything about the origins of these children?
There is the possibility of the transmission of energy.
Let me get this straight. You imply that these children may be the result of impulses directed towards us from somewhere in the universe.
In Midwich, a child drowns after having a run-in with the children, and many of the villagers feel the children are to blame for the death. Gordon maintains that the children should be studied and helped. Gordon recommends that they all be housed at a single location, and the committee agrees to give him another 12 months.
What we need is time to invest.
The children are housed in the school, and Gordon is their teacher. They no longer hide the fact that they can read minds.
Why are you so nervous when an aircraft flies above you?
Until recently, we haven't been able to make our control reach as far as a high aircraft.
Oh, now you have, is that it?
Gordon asks about outer space, but David advises him against asking such questions.
Are you aware of life on another planet?
Anthea sees one of the children almost get hit by a car. The child is safe, but there is also a sign saying, "Beware the children." When the man gets out of the car, the children huddle together and control his mind, forcing him to drive the car into the wall, killing the man. When Anthea is asked to testify, her memory is scrambled. The dead driver's brother brings a shotgun to kill the children. Gordon tries to stop him. When the children see the man with the gun, they control his mind, forcing him to shoot himself in the head. Gordon is beginning to catch a clue about what he's gotten himself into. Gordon and Alan are discussing the issue when they receive word that the Russians have nuked their village, with the children and all the people in the village being killed. The Midwich villagers become enraged and set out to attack the children, Frankenstein style, with torches and pitchforks. Gordon confronts the mob leader. At the same time, the children force the mob leader to set himself on fire. Alan goes into the school to talk to his nephew, and the children are already aware of the Russian attack. David tells Alan that his group must live. He then takes control of Alan's mind and orders home the point about survival.
There's nothing you can do to stop us. Leave us alone.
Later, when he is found, Dr. Weiler examines Alan and finds him to be in a state of catastrophic shock. David goes to his home and tells Gordon that they are leaving so they can spread out for protection. He then assigns Gordon several tasks related to their future movement. After David leaves, Gordon finally realizes how dangerous the children are and begins to formulate a plan to use a mental brick wall to protect his mind from being read or controlled by the children. An emotionally distant Gordon says goodbye to Alan and Anthea as they leave for London. Gordon builds a bomb before traveling to the school while focusing on the brick wall. When he enters, David knows something is wrong, but they can't penetrate his mind. On the road to London, Anthea realizes something is wrong and has Alan turn around. Children slowly break down Gordon's mind block, but it's too late. The bomb explodes, killing Gordon and all of the children. Anthea arrives in time to see the explosion. Hey folks, I'm going to take a quick break to tell you about our sponsor, Libsyn, the podcast hosting platform. I use it and trust it. If you've been thinking about starting your own show, Libsyn makes it super easy to get your podcast up and running. And they help you distribute it everywhere. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, you name it. And here's the best part. If you use my code CMR at checkout, you can get up to 2 months of free podcast hosting. It's a great way to test the waters and start sharing your voice with the world. Plus, you can support the show by using any of the affiliate links down in the description. It doesn't cost you anything extra, and it really helps the show keep going. All right, back to the show. Conclusion. One important note about the era this film was made in. In a later interview, Barbara Shelley, Anthea, said the movie was misogynist as the women gave birth to the children but were completely removed from any meaningful action involving their offspring. The movie is based on a novel by John Wyndham, The Midwich Cuckoos. Cuckoos are a bird that lay their eggs in the nest of other birds, shifting the parental duty to the other birds. This 1960 movie is not the only version of the story. There's another film titled Children of the Damned, 1964. That film has a 6.2 rating on imdb.com. As far as I know, I have not seen it, but the plot roughly goes 6 alien children from different countries take refuge in an English church and trouble ensues. Also, director John Carpenter released Village of the Damned, 1995. I don't remember ever watching it, but it's only rated 5.7 on imdb.com. So I won't be tracking it down. With director Carpenter and writer Sterling Silliphant, it should have been good, but the tale was never driven by explosions or blood. The film stars Christopher Reeves, My Superman, Kirstie Alley, Star Trek or Cheers, Linda Kozlowski, who was forced on us by Mick Dundee, good action actor Michael Pare, Meredith Salinger, the Wolf Girl Natty Vance, if you're of that age, and Mark Hamill, still the best Jedi. In today's film, the children's glowing eyes were created by overlapping a negative image of their eyes on the original film. The British Board of Film Classification considered this effect too frightening, and it was removed in the original English release. World famous short summary, beware the cuckoos. You could take that a lot of ways. Thank you for taking the time to listen. It's really appreciated. If you want more, be sure to subscribe, hit the like, ring the bell, or leave a comment. You can support the show by using any of the affiliate links in the description. It really helps the show continue to operate. As a technical note, references and citations are listed for each show on the site at classicmovierev.com. There's also a lot of other information on the site. Beware the Moors. All right, in a couple of seconds, some boxes are going to pop up. One is similar reviews to today's review, and the other is other sci-fi movies that I've reviewed.